Hello, you are back with Michelle Clarke and Jacqui O'Connor. We're talking about our fine galactic selves so that you can recognize if you are galactically connected, because not realizing that you are galactically connected hurts. Like hiding under the rock is painful. You felt alone and disconnected for most of your life, and now that the energy has shifted on Earth, it's actually time for us to come out. Some of us were out the whole time. Some of us are just coming out now. It actually really doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a whole soul family of people that will understand, nurture, and get you in. It's just such a beautiful gift. So there's three things that we're going to talk about right now that you might recognize if you're galactically connected. It's about sexuality, it's about inner feelings inside your body, and about menopause. So the first one, sexual being. People who are galactically connected, even when they're children and they have like all of the energies and everything out, we are very energetic beings. In fact, that's a whole other thing. We have so much more energy than anyone else. And we might be traumatized into responses of depression or chronic fatigue or any of those other things. But in our natural state, we are super high energy. Like people often say, like, how do you get so much done? Or it's just because there's just so much energy there all the time. So we also have this energy when we're children, whether we choose to run around in circles or not, or whether we choose to sit quietly because of childhood trauma. The energy is there. And so we're actually often quite sexual beings, and quite early on. Like we think strange things because this is not our first rodeo. So we might be having thoughts and sensations that are like outside the realm of what society thinks children should sort of feel. So we learn very early on to shut it off. So we're quite sexual beings, but we learn it's dirty, it's dark, it's disgusting, we should totally turn it off. Like, especially Catholicism or religious families, but even not in religious families, like even if sexuality is okay in your family, there's still little teasing and traumas that go on that really shut it down for us. So when you awaken to your galactic energies, you will notice like the energy is intense around sexuality, but around everything, like really honestly, everything. Sexuality is just a part of it. It's just kind of a way for you to recognize that actually, yes, you might be galactically connected.
I'd probably add to it about dreams as well, like having sexual dreams as well from a young age too, and being mortified because how can and knowing that sort of information, because it was so taboo, but actually having these stories and dreams I think was really overwhelming as well. Yeah.
Okay, the second thing here that we want to talk about today is inner sensations. I've always felt sensations inside my body, and I just thought everybody else did as well. So whether you felt them as a kid and turned them off, or whether they just never got turned off, I did learn to turn my inner sensations off because they were just too weird for me. And then when they started coming back later, they were quite bizarre, and I felt literally quite crazy, like especially when I seem to go through everything first. I kind of feel like I have to do it so I help other people through it. But when I started going through one particular kind of galactic reawakening, it was pretty freaking intense. And I could feel my body vibrating so much sometimes that I felt like I was levitating off the bed, so much that I would turn to my husband and say, is my body physically shaking on the outside? He'd be like, no. But it was so intense, like the vibration. And later on, when I come across a moldavite crystal, because it's quite hard to find, I was living in New Zealand then, someone put it in my hand and I was like, oh, that's what my body feels like. And she's like, oh, yeah, not many people can hold this without being sick. So there's another cue. If you can hold moldavite without being sick, you are galactically connected, whether you like it or not. Yeah. That's my frequency. And so we have these kind of sensations inside our body. I have intense sensations. Like I can literally feel my heart beating inside my chest. I can feel all of my body all of the time.
Yeah. Definitely when I reconnected with my body after shutting down that connection, I could feel ovulation. I could feel my heart. Yeah. And one of my big ones, and everyone gets annoyed with me at home, is it's my ears. I get a lot of, and it's inside. It's where you can't reach. And each time I know there's something I'm meant to hear or something I'm not meant to hear. So when I used to avoid it or try and scratch it, it would prolong. But when I paused and stopped and thought, okay, what am I meant to be hearing, and just sat in my magic, then it would actually dissipate. Yeah.
And ringing in the ears is generally when you're getting a download. People are like, do I just get random tinnitus? It's like, no, it's a download. So it's different for all of us. Like information downloads differently for all of us, but for quite a few of us, it's ringing in the ears or sensations in the ears.
Yeah, and then just little, and then it's always here. Actually, I get this little push, and it's a little angel push, and I'm like, yeah.
And sometimes now, like my energy is so turned up now, like I'm totally at the other end of the spectrum now. I can literally like bump into people's auras, and like I move away from people, and they move closer to me, and I'm like, oh. I don't want to feel your aura.
So fun.
Crowded situations can be a problem unless it's like-minded people. I'm like, yeah, totally mesh your aura into mine, whatever. But when they're not particularly nice people, it drains kind of your energy. There was something else that wanted to come out about physical sensation, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh, soul tingles. When you are getting, when you're getting messages, when you're actually connected to your soul, and maybe it's a good time to tell them about how I kind of saw it, that the star seed stays over on the other side and a tiny chunk of that breaks off and actually becomes your higher self. And it's so that not all parts of you can be damaged at one time. So if anything happens, your star seed's always safe. And so a little chunk breaks off and is your higher self. Well, your higher self talks to you. It gives you messages. It's fully connected to the star seed and directly connected to whatever else is out there. So, of course, that's where your information comes from. And a little part of your higher self breaks off and becomes your soul. And a little part of your soul breaks off and becomes your energetic body that implants into the physical body that we have here. So I've only just recently been showing that. I know it's a little bit out there, but, you know.
I think now I can't speak for everybody, but now more than ever, just like so much information being downloaded, so potent, yeah.
And so when we connect to our knowing and a knowing or other guides or whatever we're connecting to, there's so many things you can connect to, you kind of get soul tingles, and that energetic imprint is different for everyone as well. But for me, it's almost like the hackles on myself are rising up. Like I can feel these little pinprick energies all over, especially over the back of my body and over my scalp.
Cool. And then we're going to talk about menopause as well. So it's really interesting. I mean, I'm transitioning. I'm in the journey, and everyone has a different journey. But I guess what I'm loving is that it's being talked about a lot more, and getting more awareness, which is really, really great and really important. However, because we haven't been in a world where we've honoured and celebrated femininity and the rest of our cycles, so I'm not necessarily talking, woman, but not necessarily talking gender, but the feminine side to us, so our emotions, our intuition, and our empathy. It's our body's kind of craving that. It's looking for that honour of cycles, and because we haven't done that, we've kind of just pushed on through quite a patriarchal, masculine do world. That now all of a sudden that there's this massive amount of baby boomer babies going through menopause. There's this big wave of discussion around it, which is really exciting. But however, we haven't had the beginning part of our empowerment journey. So a lot of people are having really messy transitions, and I'm not having a messy transition. I'm having a more powerful transition. I'm feeling more in my power. I feel more of a wise woman. I feel more. I feel like I can really heal. I feel potent. I feel like I can heal a lot of the traumas that I went through in my exploration of my childhood, And I feel that I can now advocate for myself, but I can advocate for others as well. Like, I can make good of those defining moments, and I feel really powerful in that. And then the other thing that I really feel really powerful in is that I can actually craft a life that best suits me. So I can craft a life. So for me, I'm awake at night, and if I was still, I've come from a nursing background, if I was still nursing, that I would have been challenged and pressured to sleep, whereas now I just surrender to being awake at night, because I know that I can actually have an afternoon sleep. I watch Cup every day, hop into bed every day, unapologetic about it. And so that's what suits me and my body. That works for me. And this is a real message that I would love to get out to the world, not just to women, but all society, around actually crafting lives that best suit us. So if you're not transitioning so smoothly, then still being able to live in abundance, still being able to live connected to your family and society, but not that on the hamster wheel.